Can you guys hear me? Either type in the chat, give me a thumbs up. You can. It's odd because I cannot hear you yet. Give me one moment, we'll get going here. If anyone could unmute themselves and say hello, I would appreciate it. I just want to make sure if somebody does need, you can get a hold of me here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
We can hear you. Perfect. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So I am your new teacher for tonight. Michael Rapaski, who you guys know, had to duck out, unfortunately, but I will be jumping in and helping out tonight. My name's Eric Uchbar. I don't know if Mike has talked to you much about what I do, but I'm going to be taking over once you actually pass the test and you are jumping into real estate activity. That's part of my job of helping agents excel in their business. I've been a licensed agent since 19 years old, and this is now my 18th year in the business. And I have sold something like 60 or 70 million in real estate, big into investing. My wife and I own 42 investment properties, and I also run a coaching program with 72 agents in it. So with that type of background, it may sound like I know every single answer to all these questions, yet I promise you I don't. This test is a very difficult and serious test. I have not passed it in 18 years, so I can't tell you all the answers yet. We're going to figure it out together tonight, and I'm more than happy to help everyone walk through that. So, I will need some interaction and some help from everyone. I know that there are two parts to this crammer, and I'm not sure what you want or what you typically go into, but there's like a vocabulary section and a crammer section, which is like a test quiz. Can anybody tell me which one you normally go into, or possibly both?
Normally the test portion we go into whenever
Thank you. Perfect, just going right into the test. Great. Does anyone have, I run a lot of coaching sessions online and in person. Before we get started though, I always want to just check in and see if there were any ahas over the last week that anyone had, anything that they learned in the real estate business, anything that they learned about this test, or anything that would be helpful, any ahas, anything anyone would like to share before we get started. Very good. Well, feel free to interrupt and jump in. This is going to be a learning activity today. So if you don't understand, please speak up. I can tell you that it's going to be very important. If you haven't already taken the test, most people are taking it twice. It is okay if you have failed one or two times. The highest I've ever seen that somebody, and I love this story, I think they took it 16 times and passed. They kept going until most people would have given up. That agent did very well in the business, by the way. Depending on if you pass or fail, does not reflect how good or not good you'll be in the business. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here.
One more. That's it.
And we'll jump right in. Got to move these boxes around. That one open. All right. So first question, and go ahead and type in the chat which one you believe is correct. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or A, B, C, or D. Which of the following best describes the term appurtenance?
No, not good. Go watch TV. There.
So what do we have? Let me open up this chat here. Looks like a solid B. That is correct. Let's go ahead and check that. Check answer. I'm sure I'm going to say one of these, by the way, is going to be correct or incorrect, and I'm going to be wrong as well, and that is okay. We're here to learn. But yeah, it's something that runs with the land. We rarely use this term in real life, yet it is important for us to understand and know. We may see it on a deed from time to time. For passing the test, though, it's essential that you know and understand that. This talks about tenants' rights in a landlord's property are called leasehold estates. They are not pertinent as they do not run with the land. So special assessment or tax levy imposed against a specific parcel of real estate that will benefit from a public improvement. A right that lasts only for a certain period of time is most likely a license, which does not run with the land. That's exactly it. Let's go ahead and move on. Unless anybody's got any other questions, go ahead and type it in the chat. Perfect. All right, with regard to real estate, accretion refers to which process? A method of evaluating the property according to its value, gradually wearing away of the property, gradually building up the property, silt suspended in water.
It's B.
Everybody's got, hold on. Who said B?
Me.
All right, let's see what we got here. It is C.
Okay.
So, yeah, so gradually building up of the property. So this is pretty much the opposite of erosion. So again, something that maybe we would deal with if we're selling something on Lake Erie or near a river. That would be about it. And alluvium. Would you mind actually unmuting yourself? I'm unaware of what that is. Can you unmute or share any info you have on that? Does anybody else recognize that term, alluvium? My concern is I know these tests, they try and throw these little twists in there. And they'll more or less have a little bit of a testing, making sure you're reading it correctly.
Yeah, so the word, I just remember the words are similar. It has to do with the accumulation, or the water accumulating some debris against the the shoreway or something to that nature, on the rivers or something. I just remember those two being similar.
Got it. So yeah, it's sediment deposited by flowing water as in a riverbed, floodplain, or delta. I'm curious what the difference is between that and growth by increase of size by gradual external addition. So it sounds like that may not be a like a river actually bringing in water or bringing in the material. So all we have to remember is the alluvium, if I'm pronouncing that even correctly, has to do with water bringing it on, where I believe accretion could be anything, even by man-made. So let's keep moving on. A grantor conveyed, let me move this here. A grantor conveyed a vacant 1 acre tract of land to a grantee. The grantee receives the most useless number we all know. I still remember this one, 43,560. That is correct for 1 acre of land. We do occasionally come across this in the real world examples, yet I will tell you it will be on your test. Make sure you know it. All right, moving on. A lien filed for the sole purpose of preventing a transfer of property pending the outcome of litigation is called a.
What's going on? Why can't I can't see his screens here.
Brent, I just went ahead and muted you. I don't know if you were trying to speak up or not, but if you need any assistance, shoot it in the chat. But lis pendus is correct, and it looks like everyone had that. Perfect. Let's keep moving on. Which type of description is inadequate for describing the property in a deed? Meets and bounds description, house number, lot number, rectangle survey description. How many acres are in a government rectangle survey that consists of the southwest quarter, northeast quarter, northwest quarter of section 13 of Blendon Township? So we had a lot of B's. This one. I don't know the answer to this at all. Can anybody share what they know about this?
Yeah, you do 640 divided by all the fours.
So why in the world did that not come up right then? 640 divided by 4 divided by 4 divided by 4 equals 10. So we did have some A's, I'm sorry. The B's might have been from the last one. Perfect. All right. Very good. Appreciate you jumping in and chiming in as well. Not a problem, Brent. The addition of the soil to property by the gradual operation of natural causes is termed. Very good. Everybody had A there. All right, a deed used to transfer title states the conveyance will remain in effect so long as the property is not used for the sale of alcoholic beverages. The buyer would receive which kind of estate? That's it. Great job, everyone. I'm moving along here pretty quick. If anybody is not getting these correct, please go ahead and type in the chat and let us know. All right, so we've already got some answers here. ABC Remodeling buys a new warehouse for its truck and excess building materials. How will it take title? That's exactly it. Very good. All right. Which type of legal description would be what a new residential subdeveloper most likely use? A, government rectangular survey, B, lot and block, C, meet and bounds, or D, sections and townships? We are getting B and C, so let's see what they tell us here. Most states have laws that require the use of lot and block method to describe real property if newly created parcels are smaller than the minimum required by statute. Example, per lot size of less than 5 acres. An example of a lot and block description is as follows: being property described as a lot number of 16 Norwich Lake Estates subdivision located in the state of Texas, County of Wichita. Very good. 9 out of 10 correct. That's still an A, right? All right. Let's see if we do this, we'll just move on to another one. Perfect. All right, so let's add this person in. John dies and leaves the township 10 acres to use as it wishes, but not on Sunday. If the land is used for any purpose on Sunday, ownership will pass to his son, Bill. What describes the interest of the township and Bill respectively? Looks like we have B's. Very good. C, a fee simple condition of state upon the occurrence of limiting condition may or may not be terminated at the option of the grantor. We all got this one correct, so we're going to keep moving on. Now, if you are in the chat, and I know that some of you are still joining, I would highly recommend everyone pitches in. Don't just be listening to this. You really need to be taking these quizzes. It's going to be very difficult. So go ahead. I want everybody in the chats filling these up when we get to these answers. Next one, a buyer executes a chattel mortgage in favor of a lender. Which type of property would be covered by a chattel mortgage? Office, furniture, and equipment, newly installed furnace, real estate, and automobile. That is correct, and we do hear this often. We never talk about chattel mortgage, yet we do have chattel come up often in real estate transactions. The subsurface rights, such as mineral rights and limited rights to use their air above the surface of a real property, are commonly referred to as we even got an N on one of these. I'm sure somebody tried to type in B and typed in N, but yeah, we are correct. It is going to be B. No need to move deeper into that. We all guessed that one. When a firm is not paid after furnishing materials for construction of an apartment building, the firm may file a mechanics lien, B, deficiency judgment, an estoppel certificate, or writ of liability. A is 100% correct. Attaching a fixture to real property, therefore making it part of the real property is so the doctrine of emblements, easements of prescription, actual annexation, adverse possession. That is correct. Everybody has C. We are doing great. We should all just take this test together. It would be a lot easier. A commercial tenant offers a bank his showcase furniture, paintings, and other items that he has placed in the rental property. In favor of the bank, the tenant would execute A, mortgage, B, easement, C, chattel mortgage, or D, leasehold estate. I really like these chattel mortgages. Real property rights are defined in terms of bundle of rights. That includes the right to sell at a cheap price, A, B, excuse me, all the answers listed, C, grow flowers, or D, build a house. Excuse me. Man, everyone's got these down really well. All right. Next question. Rich buys a tract of land and receives an easement to cross Sam's property to access a community lake. Rich is benefiting from the easement and thus has a dominant estate, B, encumbrance, C, servient estate, or D, encroachment. Ooh, we've got A, B's, and C's. Dominant estate is the correct answer. Rich has a dominant estate. Sam's property would be the servient estate. It serves the dominant one. An encumbrance is a burden of one's title. An encroachment is an object on somebody else's property. Any questions on that? It's mainly memory. Pretty easy to think about servient and dominant estate. Just make sure you understand the difference between an encumbrance and an encroachment. Those are two separate things. You can encumber title and you can encroach property. Two separate things. All right, a garage door opener is often considered a fixture. As such, it would be an example of 1, construction annexation, or I should say A, B, actual annexation, C, prescriptive easement, or D, adverse possession. That's right, construction. We did have some B's on there. So actual annexation is a physically attaching something to the land. Adverse possession, that's when somebody acquires property over 21 years. Prescriptive easement is acquiring the right to use somebody else's property by using it without the owner's permission for a specified period of time. Construction annexation is when something is so closely related to the property, it is a fixture even though it is not physically attached. So those are the differences there. That's a new one to me. I use the prep agent annexation, yeah. So yeah, if anybody needs to take a screenshot of that, go ahead and do so. Take a photo if that does not make sense to you, and read carefully. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. A legal description of the property based on lines of longitude and latitude, townships, and sections is described as. That is correct. Government rectangular survey. Looks like we all had that right. We can move on from that one and look at us. 10 out of 10. So we'll keep moving on here. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to jump in. An example of a natural attachment to real property is a garden bench. B would be a chain link fence. C, an electrical power pole, or D, landscaping. Landscaping is correct. Mr. Green lives in a life estate to Sandra. I'm sorry, Mr. Green gives a life estate to Sandra. Upon Sandra's death, the estate goes to Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue's interest is known as. Now, if you're doing this, make sure you're not reading the comments alongside. Really try and test yourself to understand it. And don't be afraid to give wrong answers either. It's really important that we all understand what we're getting involved with here. All right, next one. Jack gives a life estate to Jill for so long as Bob lives. Upon Bob's death, the property will pass to Larry. What are the interests of Jill and Larry? So we've got a couple of A's. So it's with remainder, not with reversion. Jack will not get the life estate back. Let's take a moment here and go over this. Jack will not get the life estate back. Jill is the life tenant and Bob is the measuring life. When the measuring life is someone other than the life tenant, then the life estate is, however you pronounce the Latin phrase. Larry has a future interest in the property as a remainderman. Got it. So that would put him as number 4. So that was D. I would recommend you take a screenshot of this. We had a lot of different answers on this, so make sure you understand it. And if we have to go back later, we can do so. But let's go ahead and study up on that one. Next one, a tenant farmer, upon being told that the field he farms has been sold, may have to A, plow under his crops, B, vacate the property, but with the right to harvest the crops at maturity, C, replant and assure the new landlord of an income, or D, vacate the property at once. That's it. All right, which would be considered an encumbrance but not a lien? IRS taxes, mechanics liens, mortgage, or an easement? So it is an easement. Looks like we got a lot of D's there. We will keep moving on. Next one we've got, after a buyer purchases a property, he has a survey made and finds that his neighbor recently built a fence on his land. This is an example of A, party wall, B, appurtenance, C, adverse possession, or D, encroachment. Zero dispute on that one. We're all going into encroachment. All right. Which is both a lien and an encumbrance on a property? A deed restriction, B, a mortgage, C, a license, or D, an easement. I'm going to say B, a mortgage. It looks like everyone else is as well. It is not A or a deed restriction. I saw a couple of those. The reason it's not a deed restriction is something that limits somebody having the ability to do something on a property. So that would be an encumbrance, but it is not a lien, where a mortgage is both a lien and a encumbrance on there. All right. Which is necessary to create an easement by prescription? This one I'm unfamiliar with, so I'm going to be relying on you guys. Consistent and regular use of land for the stated prescription of years. B would be open and notorious use of the land. C, hostile and adverse use of the land, or D, all the answers listed. So I'm seeing A, D, D, D. Well, let's check here. It is D. So you're not wrong if you had A, yet it is also B and C as well. So each of the elements listed require and obtain an easement by prescription. Absent of these, the claim for an easement by prescription will fail. So you need a consistent, regular use for the land stated for the stated prescription of years. B, an open and notorious use of land, and C, hostile and adverse use of the land. So you have to have all of those to create that. Next one, all the property is classified either real or, all the property is classified as either real or easements, fixtures, Emblements or personal? That's it. Such an odd question. Which property is not appurtenant to real property? Easements, mineral rights, chattels, or deeds of trust? Which is not appurtenant to real property? Easements, mineral rights, chattels, or deeds of trust? Chattel is correct. Very good. We did another good one, 90% on that one. Take a quick 5-second break here. Let's see if anybody's got any questions. If not, we can keep moving on. All right, we will move on. Which is not an example of a common area in a condominium? A, land, B, living trust, C, laundromat, or D, swimming pool? We've got a bunch of B's. And we are correct. Moving on. Wayne grants Brent the permission to use Wayne's property to fish out one hot summer day. This is referred to as a license. That is correct. Looks like we all had license. We'll keep moving on. The heirs of an estate are selling their deceased father's home. They remove a bedroom set, an organ bench that matches a built-in organ, a television, and various famous paintings. Which would be considered real property? A, a bedroom set, B, an organ bench, C, a television set, or D, famous painting? That's correct, because it is built in. Something they use often or while we're negotiating contracts, when a seller asks us, what's it mean to have something built in? It's if it were permanently fixed to the wall, or permanently fixed to the property. We already have a bunch of A's coming in, which is the highest and best form of ownership and interest in real estate is called fee simple absolute. Is correct. A telephone company has a 20-foot wide easement across Farmer Jones' land on which the telephone poles are installed and through which telephone wires extend. When the telephone company goes cellular and removes the poles and wires, the easement terminates due to I don't know the answer to this. Both could be correct, either failure of purpose or abandonment. Failure of purpose. See if they have, if abandonment was just thrown in there, or is that a different term? They terminate by abandonment when there is a clear expression of the beneficiary's intent to abandon. So they would actually have to, like, I guess, notify that they're actually doing that instead of just moving on to something else. Very good. All right. Which is not limited to common area. Assigned parking, patio, B, patio of a unit, C, unit the manager lives in, or D, foyer in a unit. That is correct. Which is considered a real property? Emblements, light fixtures, tenants fixtures, or D, area rugs over the hardwood floors. Remember, this has to do with if it's permanently attached to the property, would be what real property is. That's a good, just general rule of thumb. Which is necessary to create an easement by prescription? A, all of the answers listed. B, constant regular use of land for the stated prescription of years. C, hostile and adverse use of land, or D, open and notorious use of land. Yes, we did. The legal description of a property based on points of beginnings, distances, directions, and degrees is a blank, or I'm sorry, is a government rectangular survey, B, lot and block survey, C, recorded plat subdivision, or D, meets and bounds. That's it. Next one, which is not real property? I love all of you guys are just jumping in and reading. You're right on top of it. B is correct. Sump pump is considered real property because it's a permanently fixed. When it was installed, it was there to be permanently fixed in the home. Drapes can be removed. 10 out of 10, everyone. Great job. All right, next one. Sally wishes to guarantee that her grandchildren receive her home and farm after her son dies. She should then A, devise the property directly to the grandchildren. B, make the children tenants in common with their father. C, leave their son a life estate naming grandchildren as a remainder interest. Or D, put the property in joint tenancy with herself and the grandchildren. Pretty solid C right there. Moving on, a buyer is considering purchasing an interest rate in a timeshare. The buyer is offered the right to buy stock in a corporation that owns the property. He will receive a lease of its units for his timeshare interest. This is a blank timeshare. Exactly it. Moving on, the highest and best form of ownership of real property is called. We already had this one. That is correct. An inquiry notice is A, what a person can actually see. B, what the real estate broker says. C, a matter of public record. Or D, when circumstances exist, they should be investigated. So it's actually when circumstances exist, they should be investigated. Actual notice is when a person sees or is told. Constructive notice is a matter of public record. Again, if we got that one wrong, including myself, take a photo of it and make sure that you're remembering the difference between actual notice and constructive notice. Make sure we get that right on the test. That's why we're here to learn. A system of ownership is, a system of ownership and fee simple title to designated areas of airspace with a percentage of ownership of common elements in the property is termed A, condemnation, B, condominium, C, cooperative, or D, chattel. Condominium is correct. So condemnation is an act of government to take private property. So if you ever see that there might be a property that's in really bad condition, you'll see it being condemned. That is different from a condominium. Condominiums are like little hotel rooms, or I should say like hotel areas that you can actually buy. I'm sure many of you know exactly what condos are. But yeah, make sure you were getting those two straight. Next one, for a buyer to be certain that the property has no encroachments, she should be able to obtain a abstract of title, survey, certificate of no defense, or owner fee policy of title insurance. Survey, that is correct. Next one, Tom and Sally are not married, but own rental property together. Because they also have the right of survivorship, they most likely own the property in 1, tenancy in common, B, joint tenancy, C, tenancy by entireties, or D, in severalties. I'm saying B's or D's. So I believe you are actually correct. If they bought it together, then no, it wouldn't be tenancy and severalty. That's just with one person. Yep, that is correct. Anybody needs to take a quick photo of the paragraph, little blurb down below. If you got that one wrong, make sure you are doing that. Correct, they are not married. That may have been the confusion. And the test will do that. Slow down when you're reading the test. They'll throw that not in. And in this test, it showed it in big bold letters. It will not be in big bold letters. They'll try and give you the answer that you think you want to be looking for, and it's not correct. So take your time and read. We already have answers coming in. Don't look at the answers, look at the question and answer it for yourself. Which would serve as evidence of a shareholder's exclusive right of possession of property owned by the shareholders corporation? A, net lease, B, gross lease, C, proprietary lease, or D, deed. Proprietary is correct. We did have a couple of D's. Deeds convey legal title, and proprietary lease. So yeah, the net lease and the gross lease are leasehold estates. Deeds convey legal title. Shareholders do not have title to the property they live in when their right of possession occurred as a result of the acquisition of the stock. So a leasehold estate. Ian, you're asking about the leasehold estate. The net lease of the gross lease are leasehold estates. I'm actually going to toss that one back to everyone else. Who can actually, let's take a pause here. Can anyone describe that? I can't say that I personally can. This is something that dives a little bit deeper in your books that you're currently learning on. Ian, I wish I could, and what I can do is I can get back to you on that. Unfortunately, this is not something that we deal with in real estate, but I'd be happy to follow up with you. All right, let's keep moving on. When a woman has an interest in land that will only continue as long as she lives, she has a fee simple estate, B, life estate, C, easement, or estate for years. Life estate is correct, and somebody jumped in. Leasehold estate is just the interest of the property, not the right of ownership. Thank you so much, Destiny. So Ian, again, leasehold estate is just the interest of the property, not a right of ownership. Perfect. Appreciate you chiming in. All right, fixtures and showcases attached to a property in a store that occupies rented space are considered A, all of the answers listed, B, personal property, C, chattel, or D, trade fixtures. Looks like we all had that one. And we are a 9 out of 10. All right, we'll have time for one more. And then if you guys want, if you have questions in real estate itself, I'm encouraging you to mainly focus on these tests. Yet, if you want to have some questions about either real estate investments or what to do as a realtor or how to get started, we can take a couple minutes at the end and answer those questions. So one of the appurtenances to a parcel of land would be a bill of sale, B, assignment, C, bundle of rights, or D, deed. Bundle of rights is correct. Which of the following best describes the term appurtenance? It refers to the rights that last only for a certain period of time. We already had this one. It refers to the rights a tenant owns in the landlord's property. I already see all the C's filling up, which is correct. Very good. With regard to real estate, accretion refers to which process? It looks like we may have a repeat here. A valid encumbrance of affecting title of an estate and land, such as mortgage or judgment, is called, this is a new one. Oddly enough, the first deal I ever had a cloud on title, and that is literally the last one I've ever had. It was on my brother's house. I remember telling the broker that that happened, and he goes, "Eric, I've been doing this for," it was like 25 years, and he goes, "I've never had that happen." He was a small local broker, but anyways, moving on. Cloud on title is correct. That is a valid encumbrance affecting title of an estate, such as land, such as a mortgage or judgment. That was not cleared up. Next one, which would be considered a chattel? A, goods or other items of personal property not annexed to real property. B, in-ground swimming pool. C, fence, or D, new furnace. Yep, property, goods or other items is correct. Which statement regarding the common area of a condominium project is true? A, the homeowners association usually has liability insurance coverage for the common area. B, the common area in the condominium is owned by the government and does not require insurance coverage. C, each owner maintains individual policy over common areas. Or D, the owners insure only their own individual units, and the common areas are left uninsured. Got a ton of A's. We got a C in there as well. I think we had 2 C's. If you got that one wrong, make sure that I would take a quick photo of this one and investigate that further. Next, when an owner of real estate is sold to the same parcel of land to 2 different buyers at the same time, when both buyers meet at the property, they discover that both have recorded deeds for the property. Which type of lawsuit will they file to determine who has title? A civil rights and eviction lawsuit, quiet title action, or action to recover title? Can anyone answer Tamara's, which was the correct answer for the last one? Make sure you specify 2. You're writing in the last answer or last question answer. I wish we could go back. Anyways, I believe this is a quiet title, and it is. So before we move on, it was all the owners owned by the insured for the common area owned together. Thank you, Ian. When an interest in real property is a remainder interest, A, the life tenant gets legal title. B, title goes to someone at the end of a life estate. C, a grantor is convincing legal title to a grantee. Or D, a grantor gets title back at the end of the life estate. B is correct. Next one, the right to use, enjoy, and possess and dispose of real property is commonly referred to as A, building codes, B, bill of sale, C, bundle of rights, and D, encumbrances. Bundle of rights is correct. Next one, a deed used to transfer title states the conveyance will remain in effect so as long as the property is not used for the sale of alcoholic beverages. We already talked about this one. We'll go over it anyways. The buyer would receive which kind of estate? A fee simple, defeasible, a reversionary, a fee simple, absolute, or fee tail? A is correct. So I think we missed 3 questions in total tonight. Before we move on, does anybody have any questions that while they've been doing their own cramming tests, or have any questions that I can help with? Any challenges anyone has that we can dive deep in, and then if not, I'll open it up if you guys have any questions on real estate. So I guess we can go either one. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, any chance we can do a amortization problem? Because I kept seeing that one on the test. I know I missed that one.
Yeah, so we can. Now, are you doing this when they ask you for the amortization schedules? Are they still having you like hand write them out?
No, they actually have the table available to look at, but I don't know. I think I just draw a blank every time I see that question.
Yeah, the amortization schedule. So, well, do you have a sample question for that?
You know what? I can probably send it late. I don't have one like now, but I know that one came up twice. So this will be my 5th time taking the national, and I keep seeing that same type of question.
Yeah, and that is a more difficult one, yet I can break it down a little bit easier. If you send me an example of the question, I can go through it with you. I'd be happy to spend some time with you offline,
Okay.
and dive a little bit deeper.
Okay.
The whole math questions don't be intimidated by them. Try and figure out what you're doing. A really good way to do this, by the way, is if you have a mortgage on your own property, or if you have a family member that has one, figure out where their loan started, get a mortgage statement from them, and break down their payment from the principal and interest standpoint and calculate it down to the penny. You can do that. I'd be happy to break that down with you. I just would like an example of what the questions are.
Okay,
and,
I can probably send you a sample question after we get offline.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Any questions about real estate anybody has about what to do or what you should be doing to get ready? What an income goal might be, or how to become a full-time agent. If you guys just want to focus on this and get to your dinner, I'm fine with that as well. I'm going to stop the share here. And if that's it, then that's pretty much it. Look forward to seeing you all in the office once you get licensed. Again, take it very seriously. You guys will do great. Keep focusing on it. And if you don't pass both your first time, not the end of the world. Did get a question from Ian here. So I'll leave it here. Anybody who wants to jump off, you're more than welcome to jump off. If you want to hear the answer to Ian's question, or if you have any other questions, feel free to jump in. How to become a full-time agent, lead generation, and hitting the ground running. Thanks, everyone. Great question around how to become a full-time agent. The first thing that we talk about in real estate is growing what we call your pipeline. Your pipeline is your entire business. What your pipeline is, the real definition of this is going to be a list of individuals that will transact with you in the first year. It's essential that you are finding those individuals. The smartest agents are doing that right now. You need to be talking to everybody you possibly can. Finding that list of people, because you will forget. If you have 5 people that you can think of right now, you'll remember 5. The majority of the agents that I coach that are making anywhere between 100 and 300,000 are typically having somewhere between 60 and 100 people in their pipeline at all times. They're constantly having those conversations with their family, their friends, their different spheres, we'll call them, which would be like maybe they have a church sphere, maybe they have a work sphere, maybe they have a friend sphere of like just people who golf, or people who, I've got one of our coaching clients, she just likes to go out to lunch with a bunch of people. So like she keeps going around different groups of people and she'll have lunch with them all the time. Make sure she's top of mind. So your goal, long story short, if you want to go from part-time to full-time agent, I recommend at a minimum of 30 people in your pipeline and 2 pending deals, meaning 2 houses that are under contract. If you focus on that, you'll have enough income. You don't have to save up a bunch of money. You'll have enough income to actually make that transition. Lead generation though, to break it down real simple, make 10 phone calls a day right now and let people know. Everyone in your phone, contact everybody you can think of and say, hey, I'm really excited, I'm getting licensed. Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If you do that over time, it is unbelievable. When you step into the office, you're going to have contracts ready to be written. Each contract, by the way, every house we sell is about $5,000 of income for you. So if you can walk right into real estate and have 1 or 2 people closing that first month, that is way better than what I did of going, I don't want to do anything until. And somebody brought up a point one time, and they said, well, Eric, what happens if they want to buy and I don't have my license? Real simple. You have a whole group of agents that you've gone through school with. You've got one of the biggest, well, the biggest market center in the area, 400 plus agents. Refer it out to someone. Let them take that buyer client, because that buyer or seller is going to buy or sell probably with or without you. So make sure you're building that up. Do you have any other questions? Yeah, and that's how you hit the ground running. Make sure you're making those 10 contacts a day, and then have a written list or an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet of a buyer and seller list of people you believe will transact with you in the next year. That could be a for sale by owner. It could be all sorts of different things. Now, you can't market to them. You can tell them, though, you are going to become a licensed real estate agent. And you can start having those conversations, especially with family and friends. Super, super important. So any other questions, or we can shut it down? By the way, congratulations to you, anybody who did pass one of the 2 tests or came real close. I know it's very frustrating. I almost wish they wouldn't tell us what we missed by.